Welcome to the Heartbeat for Hire podcast. I'm your host, Lyndsay Dowd. My goal is to help train leaders and sales organizations how to manage and deliver results with empathy, compassion, and kindness. Let's get started. Greetings and welcome to this episode of Heartbeat for Hire. I have a fabulous guest today, Tommy Breedlove. He is the Wall Street Journal and USA Today bestselling author of the book Legendary, which I have right here, and the founder of the Legendary Life Movement, a movement that empowers driven people to be pros in leadership, business, mindset, and their relationships. As a leadership, business, relationship, and mindset coach who is a regular keynote speaker at global events, Tommy started his 20-year corporate career at one of the largest financial consulting firms in the world and eventually became a shareholder, the international practice leader, and a member of the board of directors for one of the largest public accounting and financial firms in the Southeast. At the top of his career, Tommy experienced a transformational moment, which we are going to talk about, inspiring him to walk away from the corporate world and change his life and follow his true calling. Welcome, Tommy. We're so excited to have you here.
Lyndsay, so grateful and humbled to be here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And by the way, that was the official bio we were talking about. We didn't have a bio. There it was. I need to shorten that thing up. I need to shorten that up. I started falling asleep there toward the end. So we had to shorten that. I had to
squish it down. There was more. So guys, we're talking to a real rock star here. So Tommy, for those who have not yet read the book, which they really should, you have a really incredible backstory. Can you share a little bit of that?
Yeah, so I'll do it quickly so we can talk about the work. I grew up in super humble, hardworking, blue collar beginnings in the South Side of Atlanta. Was slated to be the first person to go to college in my family. No one had ever gone to the professional world from the Breedlove family. And unfortunately, I grew up in and around a lot of violence and more abuse inside and out of the home. And at 18 years old, I became what I hated. I became that violence and abuse. And I had 5 full scholarships to a lot of universities and committed a violent crime at 18. Looked at 7 years in prison, felony charge. Luckily, it was dropped to a misdemeanor, but I was sentenced to 2 years. And I ended up spending my 19th birthday in a cage, which was not very fun. I was supposed to be at University of Georgia or University of Miami or anywhere but there. But African-American gentleman who was in his 40s mentored me, looked out for me, called me young blood, and said, "You're not going to become a part of this revolving door system." And with his help and guidance, my grit, and I knew I didn't want to go back to this institution, and I knew I didn't want to go back to that neighborhood. When I got out, I went to work for a nuclear waste container factory during the day, community college at night. It was brutal work, and then put myself through college at night. That work actually cost me a hernia and a back surgery. That's how hard that work was. But what I'm proud of is I did end up at the University of Georgia, go Dogs, but I went literally from a cage to Deloitte in 3 years. And fast forward a little bit, I thought if I just outworked everybody, I was a South Side kid. I didn't have a pedigree, went to the University of Georgia. I thought if I just outworked, out-hustled, and outmaneuvered everybody, but I did have charisma and I did have brains, I would make it to the top quickly. And I did. I was recruited out of there to 2 other firms. And there I was at 36. And I thought, I remember I came from humble beginnings. So I thought the corner office, the shiny watch, the fancy suit, the cars, the pretty girl, all that external stuff would make me happy. And it didn't. And I was still alone. I was still afraid, and I was still angry. And I couldn't figure out why. Like, there was no bonus, success, deal, corner office, shiny thing that would, or status that was making me happy. And I was like, why am I so miserable? So for me, I didn't choose wisely. I chose to live basically what you see in Mad Men and The Wolf of Wall Street. I chose that lifestyle because I thought it would make me feel powerful. I thought it would make me happy. And I thought it was the cool thing to do. And unfortunately, second time in my life, almost lost everything at 36 years old. Found myself laying in a ditch, looking up at the blue sky, thinking, my God, how did I get here? Half dressed, didn't know where my car was. And at that moment, I said, you know what? I don't know if you're going to get try number 3 here. I don't think you're going to get a third go here. Why don't you go figure out who you are, where you're going, and what you stand for, instead of living in fear, living in anger, feeling alone, and all the insecurity and trying to make people matter who didn't matter. And so I literally went on this, you can call it rock bottom or spiritual journey. I don't care what you call it, but I made me my full-time job with coaching, with therapists, reading every book I could get my hand on. I mean, I just worked with coaches, you name it. And here's what happened in those 3 years. In the 3 years that I decided to make me my full-time job, and I'm talking about working on courage, self-confidence, self-leadership, my heart muscle, my mind muscle, my spirit muscle. I never planned on leaving the big firms. And in those firms, I went from junior partner, senior partner, international practice leader, owner, and then elected to the board of directors at 39. And most of the people were in their 60s. And my income doubled, my network 10x in all the right way. And my marriage went from life support to just incredibly strong because she started doing the work with me, which was just incredible. Still does to this day. But more importantly, peace of mind, courage, self-confidence, presence, patience, happiness, and joy. That's what really I found. And then the phone just started ringing off the hook. And there I am, a senior partner at this firm. All of these corporate exec, I'm talking from 70 years old to 25 years old. These corporate executives, these entrepreneurs, these bankers, these lawyers, these private equity people started reaching out to me saying, hey man, let's grab coffee, get a beer, go for a walk. And I'm like, okay, we'll go do some more deals together. And none of them wanted to talk business. They wanted to talk about what did you do? Because they saw such an incredible change in me. They saw such an incredible peace in me. I went from being arrogant, which is just insecurity on steroids, to humble and quiet. And they just said, hey, how did you do it? Teach me how to do it. And over time, I'm like, and then they go, you got to write a book. And so eventually, I didn't hear them at first. It took me years to do it, but eventually I wrote a book called Legendary, and it's all about self-leadership, self-mastery, self-confidence, and really being in charge of your life and not letting your life be in charge of you. And at that moment, I decided to sell my equity in the firm, walk away from a lot of money, and chase this dream of building a legendary life movement. And so we built that movement. We run executive and entrepreneur retreats, you name it, experiences, masterminds, community. And it's all about bringing the ambitious, driven to better, but not only to be pros in business and money, but to be pros in your life, to be pros in your mindset, to be pro in courage, but more importantly, pros in your relationships with your friends, family. And so that's my story. Thanks, Lyndsay.
I mean, okay, and we're done. That's it. That's a wrap. No, I'm just
well,
kidding.
I hope we got to get through that fast, because I like talking about the work.
No,
more.
that was fantastic. And it sets me up so well for so many questions. But one of the questions I want to talk about, because I practice, I teach a lot about leadership and being a positive leader and being someone who sees people and values people. And I want to talk about the transformation, because I think there is a myth out there that I hear a lot, especially in sales, of I've been doing it this way for 15 years. I'm successful. Look at me. Look where I am. Look at what I've achieved. And they don't acknowledge or recognize that A, they can change, B, they should change. And so talk a little bit about what happened for you and how's it worked for other leaders who maybe had that arrogant style. And when they did make that shift, what did it mean?
Well, the number one failure in leadership, and I'm talking about leadership in business, leadership at home, leadership of self, is self-awareness, knowing thyself. And change is difficult. Looking in the mirror is difficult. Holding yourself accountable is difficult. But what I would say to those people, are they truly successful? And success, what does definition of success mean? Does that mean planes and cars and condos and lake houses? I feel kind of guilty. I'm literally standing in a lake house. But is that success, or success freedom? Is success love? Is success a feeling of, I got this, like I don't really care. I don't let people who don't matter anymore. Is success true friendships? Is success head up, shoulders back, and not being arrogant and loud, trying to prove to everyone something that you're not, and wearing a bunch of masks? If that person you're talking about is successful both at home, in his friendships, in his family, in his relationship with a significant other, and at work, and he is a truly respected and loved leader, you, my friend, are in the 0.000000001%. Congratulations. But if they're, hey, they built religions off people like that, billion people religions all over the world. So kudos to you. Maybe you're the next. But what I would say to that is, is if you really want to look in the mirror and look at your relationships, look at your self-confidence and self-respect, are you pretending to be something you're not?
Yeah.
Are you truly successful, or is it just a mirage? And are you truly you? I didn't want to be anybody else anymore. And I honestly don't, I'm not for everybody. Our movement's not for everybody. I don't want to be for everybody. I am the exact opposite of group think. And so for what I would ask people is look in the mirror. That's the problem and the solution. Are there areas in your life that you're not taking 100% responsibility for?
Yeah.
Or also, are you waiting for more and when, which is a horizon? It's like swimming to the horizon. You'll never get there. When I have this,
Yeah.
or when I have more of this, or when I've achieved this, I will then focus on my relationship, my family, my health. And that comes with regret. That comes with catastrophic failure. That comes with misery. It comes with a whole lot of other complications. And so for me, I would ask those people, change is hard. And what I'm tired of hearing, and that you're talking to one, it takes one to know one, is we don't have to hit that proverbial rock bottom to then change. Where in your life do you want to sharpen the pencil and get better? Are you a true pro, or are you a manager? Because or an amateur. You can be a true pro in business and an absolute amateur in life. And what good is that anyway? Because that means you're miserable. Or you could be a true pro at home and then you can't feed yourself. Well, that doesn't work either. So it's self-awareness. And, we're in the business of taking people from ignorance to literally awareness, from awareness to transformation to mastery, not only in success in business, but in life. So that's what I would say. Do they want it? And if they don't want it, kudos, keep doing what you're doing.
Well, you hit on something that made me think of the word blame. And right now in our culture is everybody wants to blame people for their misfortune. And it might not even be misfortune. It might be a predicament. It might be, I can't get promoted because, so-and-so is in my way, or, I can't get through to my family because, and it's everybody else's fault. And,
so true.
I think you teach a lot of accountability, and, share your thoughts on blame, because look at where you came from, look at your story, and you were living in that for so long and it didn't serve you.
The first thing I would say is everybody who believes they're a victim or entitled, and those are sisters, by the way. I'm entitled to this. You owe me
I
this.
deserve it.
Blah, I deserve. What a terrible word. You don't deserve shit. You either earn it or you don't. So sorry about that. But literally, it's not their fault. It's not our fault. The victimhood and entitled drum beats every day, and it's loud and it's sexy. If you don't believe that, turn on CNN, MSNBC, or Fox News, and they are telling you someone else who believes something different than you is trying to take something from you.
Yeah.
Victimhood. And you deserve better. You're entitled to better. So what they're doing is making you a puppet, and they're the puppeteers. You look at social media, Instagram, fabulous, envy. My life is so good. Look at me on the surfboard, blah, blah, blah. And it's all fake. Then you got LinkedIn successful, me. It's all facades. And so how can we not feel like we're entitled to something? How can we not feel angry? How can we not feel sad? Because poison is literally going in our eyes and ears, damn near all of our waking moments.
Every corner of the room. Yeah.
And then you turn on Netflix, Hulu, Apple TV, and it's poison. It's division.
Yeah.
It's just anger. It's sex. It's drugs. It's violence. It's, now we're politically correct on everything. And it's just that's promoting a victimhood and entitlement. Yeah. And so it's not your fault. And so for us, for what we believe in is we want to be the lion, not the sheep. We want to be the puppeteers and not the puppets. And we want to turn off the noise and be 100% accountable to our life, our love, our happiness, making impact and our success. That's what we stand for. And we are absolutely allergic, and we're fighting against all those things we talked about. And we're allergic to laziness. We're allergic to apathy. We're allergic to entitlement. We're allergic to victimhood. But how can human beings, it's not that they're bad people. 99.99% of people are beautiful people. They're loving people, but we're being told from birth to social media, to CNN, to our teachers, to our preachers, to our rabbis to then 24-hour news network. It's fear, division, entitlement, victimhood. Can you not feel that? So if you're consuming poison in your eyes and ears, it's going to change the way you think. It's going to change your story. It's going to change the way you think about yourself. And it's going to change the way you look at Sarah across the street. Well, Sarah and I have been friends for 20 years, but Fox News tell me I don't like Sarah anymore because Sarah voted for something I didn't vote for. Therefore, I got to hate Sarah. That is being a puppet and not a puppeteer.
Yeah, I hate that. And
I hate it.
I think people have lost their compass with all of what you've just described. And I think so much of what you do and what I try and do is to create this safe space for people to rise up and to find their purpose. And that just leads me to purpose, because you talk a lot about purpose. And I feel as a leader, you have to define your team's purpose. And when you do that, people understand their contribution. They understand why their work is meaningful, but you have your views on purpose. Talk about that.
Yeah, the first thing that I want people to hear, though, let's go back and then we'll go into purpose, is we've got to take our power back. And the only power you have in your entire life is your choices.
Yeah.
You can choose to tune into all that noise and garbage, and anything you're not paying for, you are the product. And so to be manipulated and to be told how to think, or you can start thinking for yourself. So it starts with self-leadership and building that emotional, spiritual, mental muscle. When I say spiritual, I'm not talking religion. I'm talking about what connects us to all that is.
Yeah.
So you got to get strong. So you have to prioritize yourself first. So I want to say that. Then purpose is where you find fulfillment. It's where you find impact. It's where you find meaning to life. So if you're out there in the professional world, or you're just getting started, or you're just lost, and you look up at the sky or at a fire, or you're taking a walk, like, what does this all mean? Does this all matter? Well, yes. The only thing that you were put here on this earth is to serve and to make this place better than you found it. Yes. Touch people and make them better than you found it, and touch the world and make it better than you found it. That's your purpose. And you can either do that within your profession or outside of your profession, or you can use your profession to do that outside of your profession. Or if you're very lucky, you can do both. Fortunately, I get to do both. And there's so many different opinions about purpose, but what it is it's how we serve. And what I love about our purpose is it changes during the seasons of your life. So your purpose now might not be your purpose tomorrow, might not be your purpose. Well, let me tell you what purpose is not. It is not your children. They are your responsibility. That is higher than purpose. Your purpose is where you serve this earth. You need to hold accountable your children, love your children, inspire your children, lead them children, tell them that they're not special snowflakes and that they will fail, and let them fail.
Yes.
But they are your responsibility, which is higher than purpose. Your job is to go get them to help them find their purpose. Your purpose is where you serve with your God-given talents and make someone, some organization, some business, some community better than you found it. Yeah. And that's where your God-given talents meets things that you enjoy doing, meets something you want to see for a community, a person in the world. So purpose is super important, but that's where we find impact, meaning, fulfillment, and something bigger than us in life. And it helps us get out of the bed and not go, God, when you first get up. And then instead of saying, oh my God, today's going to stink, you say, wow, I'm grateful that I get one more day, one more breath, and I'm going to go make an impact today, even if it's tiny.
Yeah, I love that. All right, let's shift and talk a little bit about self-sabotage and imposter syndrome.
The first thing I would say there is everybody's got it.
Yeah.
Everybody has, what if they figure out I don't know what I'm doing, including this guy here. I mean, I had it just less and less every day. Because I work my butt off every day to be a little bit better than I were yesterday. I mean, I'm in the coaching business. I work with coaches. I run masterminds and experiences and retreats. I go to masterminds, experiences, and retreats. I pay for what I sell. And so for me, everybody has a story and voice in their head. We're taught it. We've talked about who taught it to us. It's not that let me be clear. The 24-hour news networks, it's malicious, it's intentional, and it is intentional, and it is malicious. But our parents, our teachers, our society, the people we hang out with, they're not malicious, bad people. It's just what they were taught, and they teach it to us. So somewhere in our brains, we tell ourselves a story of, I'm not good enough, of it's fear, I'm worried. What if they figure out I don't know what I'm doing? I have to be perfect, which is impossible. And so we've got this, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, I'm not sexy enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not rich enough, blah, 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 whatever it is, because we're constantly, they're beating the envy and the envy drum all day long too. So the key is the first thing that everybody has to know is they are not alone. The second thing is be authentic about it. Say, I don't know. Or more importantly, find you a tribe of like-minded people where you can walk this life together and have authentic conversations and be vulnerable and tell people, man, I don't know if I know what I'm doing. People want to help you who are conscious, who are like-minded, and who are also doing the work. Don't go tell some pain-driven person that you don't have it figured out. They will use it against you. So find your tribe, know you're not alone, be authentic about it, ask for help. We are craving authenticity.
Yeah.
Craving it.
So true.
Because everything is so fake and everybody's got a mask on and trying to be perfect, but nobody's perfect. If we were perfect and immortal, this life would be super boring.
Well, and the imperfections is what makes us interesting. I mean, I use a lot of self-deprecating stories of things I've done wrong, so other people don't do the same things. And let's talk about wisdom. Well, yeah. And it's also humor. Like, I definitely try and inject a lot of humor into what I do because life can be really serious and I don't want to see people make the same mistakes. So talk a little bit about your observations with leaders and vulnerability and, who's done it well. And
yeah, a lot of people do it well. What I love it. So here's what people want in their leaders. The number one trait that people want is confidence. Not just confident in your craft, because all of us, if we're getting paid for it, are pretty confident in our crafts. But they see value in it and they pay for it. I'm talking about confident in yourself. I'm not talking about arrogance. I'm talking about self-love, self-respect, and self-awareness. And people know when you're confident. They know when you're insecure. They know when you're worried. And if they see arrogance and I've got it and I know this, I never ask for help, they know you're weak. So I'm not talking about confidence just in your craft. We've seen thousands and thousands of people who are very good at what they do. Look at the CEOs, athletes, entertainers, musicians, and rock stars and actors who go shoot themselves because they are very good in their crafts, but they were weak when it comes to real self-confidence and self-awareness. So number one, people follow confidence. I'm going to get to the authenticity and vulnerability in a second. Number two, they follow optimism. Nobody wants a negative Nelly. Nobody wants the glasses half full. Now we're beating the recession drum. Boom, ba-da-doom, ba-da-doom, ba-da-doom. How many recessions does this country go through? Hundreds, and we're okay. So they want optimism. They want someone who's fired up and they've got this. Number three, they want authenticity. They want people who are real. They want people who are asked for help. They want people who share wisdom. I'm not talking about authentic and vulnerable. Doesn't mean going in and emotionally vomiting to your people, telling them how you drank too much last night. That's stupid.
No,
I don't even like that word. Authenticity means you're teaching them, I was here. I failed at this. I did this. And now it looks like this. So that's being authentic. Being authentic means asking for help. Being authentic means we've got this together and yes, you do need to make a decision, but do it with your team. And sometimes just saying, I don't know. And being vulnerable is saying, I don't know. It is not emotionally vomiting. And the final thing they're looking for is consistency, is showing up and honoring your word, doing what you're going to say you're going to do. Show up. If you show up for your people and your appointments, you are 90% ahead of everybody else. And so, and if you do those other things, now you're in the exception. And so for me, who is an authentic leader out there? No one in Congress, no one in the president and any of the last presidents we've had. But what you see is on an authenticity standpoint, either you love him or you don't. That's an Elon Musk. He doesn't give two flying flips what you think. And but he's an elite talent when it comes to the brain standpoint.
He's a strange dude.
He's a strange dude. Love him or hate him, he's authentic. He's him. I'm talking about people, like there's 100 people I know, but they wouldn't know who they are. Another one that I really, really like is Joe Rogan as an authentic standpoint. I don't listen to his show. I don't watch MMA, but he brings on Republicans and Democrats. He has real conversations. He talks about his weaknesses. He's just Joe. And people are craving that authenticity. So if you want to be more successful leader, take off your mask, take off your armor, ask for help, and they will walk through walls for you, as opposed to I got this and not showing weakness. But you know what? We're talking about the 1%, which is, I know everybody on the listening to this podcast, like, oh, I am that 1%. Nonsense. You can be,
Well,
you can choose to be.
You hit on something that I try and teach, and I always tell leaders, you have to ask your direct reports, how can I be the best leader for you? And when you ask that question, you are admitting you don't know everything. And it is a humbling question. I've asked it myself, and you're going to get different answers from everyone you ask it of. But it's such an important thing, because you're letting yourself be open, you're letting yourself be vulnerable, and you're giving people an opportunity to tell you what they need. And I just think that's an admirable thing to do as a leader. And it's okay if you're out of your depth. It's okay if you don't know everything. You have to ask. You have to figure out a way through whatever predicament you're in. And yeah, there's the fake it till you make it, but I don't know that lasts for very long. You really have to kind of get the answers. And like you said, surround yourself with the tribe of people that are going to support you, support your dream, and help you find the path to get to where you want to go.
Yeah, I agree with that. I will caveat it. Are you okay if I caveat it? I see it. There's a few steps before that, but it starts with us, is knowing ourselves first and leading ourselves first. So as leaders, are we being authentic? Are we working on being a better leader? Are we growing and learning every day? Are we working with coaches? Are we getting stronger and more confident and more humble every day? That's step one. And step two is surrounding yourself with the same type of people. There's probably people in your organization that are toxic, and I would fire them yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, literally toxic, but that's on us as leaders. We hired them because pain likes pain. But once we start working on ourselves, leading ourselves, becoming self-aware, becoming more confident, more courageous, and more humble, then we look for people who are like us, A players like A players.
Yeah.
So that way, when you go to them and say, how can I lead you better? How can I lead myself better? Where is my blind spot? You know, you're getting an aware, conscious, loving answer, and not some toxic person who will use that to knock you out of the park. So we can't ask for help or feedback from toxic, unconscious, unaware energy vampires who pain likes pain. That's my only caveat there.
Well,
I don't go to the post office looking for bread. And so I know when someone is working on themselves, and in our practice, because we're in the self-mastery and leadership, money, success space, we invest in our people heavily. We let them join masterminds. We buy them therapists. We send them to trainings. We're constantly helping them be better people. So we practice what I preach. And so you got to make sure you got healthy people on your team before you ask them, how can I lead better? And what can I be? Because they're going to use it. The pain people are going to use it against you. The healthy people will use it for you. And I'm going to give you a pro tip: change your relationship. Ask your significant other, how can I love you better? You're welcome. That's worth everything you paid, Lyndsay.
Free advice for Tommy. Get it here. So Tommy, talk to me about culture, because, this is a big focus for me, and what I try, and I am trying to move the needle on a large scale to really help people not be subjected to this toxic culture that we were just talking about. And for those organizations, I'm talking to one right now where the COO that I'm talking to said, my company's culture is in the toilet. I have to transform. I was brought in to help transform this company. Let's talk about the effects of toxic culture, and, maybe your thoughts on where do you start? I know where I start, but I'd love to hear where you start.
Yeah. So culture starts I hate to say it, at the leader. It's where it all began, or the leadership. Yeah. It's usually 1 to 6 people. It doesn't matter how big the organization is. It could be thousands and thousands of people. So, and culture is so simple, and we make it so hard.
Agreed.
We make it so hard. So again, it talks about, I think culture is just a combination of a few things. It's knowing who you are, where you're going, and who's coming with you. If you don't know who you are, where you're going, and who's coming with you, hire Lyndsay, come see me. This is what we do. Who are you? where are you going, and who's coming with you. And you got to have the right people on the bus who believe who you are, where you're going, and you got to want them to come with you. So that's number one. Number two is consistency. How you do anything is how you do everything. If you're not honoring appointments and you're not showing up, you're not doing the things you need to do. You say one thing and do another. You can't just have words on a mission, vision statement. They don't mean anything. You got to walk the walk every day. You got to honor that. You've got to measure it. You got to hold yourself accountable to it. And so to me, it starts with who you are, where you're going, who's coming with you. That's your whole mission, vision. And there's a billion people out there who are preaching that and selling it. So go find one. They're probably pretty good at what they do, if they've done it before. Number two, though, is consistency, consistency, and consistency. And I'm going to be very clear. Number three is giving a shit who they are personally. It's investing in them
all the time.
It's investing in them. Now, I'm not talking about, you're going to make them professionally successful. They're going to fit into what you didn't. We're not a not-for-profit. We're not here to be cuddle. We're not a daycare. We're not family. If you're saying we are family in your organization, you are failing. Family is dysfunctional. Look at your own family. If you can't find the crazy one, you're it. You don't choose your family. You don't choose your family. You choose a world-class team who you want to do life and business with. So don't call them a family. That's bad culture. Families are dysfunctional. Teams are functional. So,
I think the people that say it's family act more like it's the mob.
Yeah, right. Or the mob. Yeah.
I've had those leaders. They're like, we're family. We do things for each other. No, that means you're sacrificing your soul to get the job done. That's what that meant.
Amen to that. And what so to me, it's really caring about who they are and making them successful, not only at work, which you're going to do, that's going to be your priority, but also making them successful humans, making them more successful at home, making them more successful in their blind spots, caring about who they are as a person. And it's not about money, money, money. It's about caring. So let me say it again. Who are you? Where are you going? Who's coming with you? Consistency, walking the walk every day. Do what you say you're going to do and giving a shit about the people.
Well, and when you take that time to get to know people and to understand what motivates them, what are their career aspirations? I hate when leaders say, I don't have enough time to do one-on-ones. Well, then you shouldn't be a leader.
Then you will fail.
You should not be a leader. If you can't make that time for your people and at least know what's going on in their lives, you have failed. So
well, it's a trickle down, isn't it? You got the leader, and let's say you're at a 10,000 person organization. You got your leader, but I guarantee you that leader has 4 other world-class leaders around them. You've got to care about them as people. You got to honor the time, make them more successful. How do you help them? Be authentic. Make sure they're who they are, where they're going. They're all aligned, and they will trickle that down, and it trickles down. But let me tell you, one breach of integrity, one, not how you do anything is how you do everything. One time that you screw up and say something regretful, or you're not being consistent, or you're not walking the walk, or you're not honoring your core values and visions, you lose immediate respect, immediate credibility, and it takes forever to get it back. I have failed on that countless times. And I'm like, my God, now I'm gonna have to work to fix that. We're human. Own it. Be accountable for it. Apologize for it. Say, I didn't honor the core values. I did it. I had done it within the last 3 months on my team. And my team knows they can call me out, by the way. I got to tell you this real quick story. I had one of my top people goes, Tommy, we write about rest. We just don't do it. And I was like, ooh.
Oh boy, I'm going to take a nap.
I was like, heard. So I gave this person the next 3 days off, and I started honoring their boundaries, because I expect people to be the machine that I am, and they can't be the machine that I am. So I love that they can call me out on our core values and feel confident with doing it too.
He told you what he needed, and you listened. And I think that's the trait of a good leader, and being able to say, okay, you love speaking in front of people. I got to afford you more opportunities to do that. And you love working on analytics. Let's see if we can find something for you to sink your teeth into. But if you don't have that awareness and you don't have that knowledge of who's on your team, then you're missing it. And how do you advocate for these people? How do you build a career for them, or a career path for them, or connect them with people who need to see them if you don't know? So yeah, I'm totally on board. Okay, here's one for you. What inspires you?
What inspires me? That's a great question. What inspires me? I think the first thing that inspires me is getting up and wanting to be better than I was yesterday. So I would say it starts with me. I have married way out of my pay grade. And so her consistency, her grace, her poise, her caring, she comes from a very loving, abundant family. I did not come from that. That inspires me. People who walk the walk, who live in their truth, and who don't care what other people think. They care what the people that matter think. They don't let society dictate to them. That inspires me.
Love
People
that.
standing up and being honest and truthful about who they are. That inspires me. It's a rare thing. It's rare that I get inspired these days. Wisdom inspires me. The more I travel, the more I read, the more I experience human beings, the less I know. I realize I know. I don't really know anything.
You know a few things.
A few things, but we're still figuring it out. I mean, I'm not certain
That's
about
life's
anything.
journey.
I'm not certain about anything, but I've certainly got some wisdom. I think I think knowledge inspires me. Here's the truth. I'm just going to own it. I don't like people at all. I love humankind. I do.
Nice.
I
love
see
that.
so much potential in us, but I just wish we would look in the mirror and know it's the problem and solution. And people who own that, who want to be better, not just in business, who want to make impact, who want to be the controllers of their destiny, but also do the work to be better humans, that inspires me.
Oh, I love that, Tommy. All right. So here's a good one for you. What would you like your legacy to be? And you're kind of already on your way, but I'll let you answer it.
Yeah, I like that. It's gotten bigger than that. And I wanted, it's a huge legacy that I want to live. Here's what I'll say this. I can honestly say this right now. If I fell over dead today, I would have a heart full of gratitude and no regrets. If I had to do it all again, I wouldn't have chosen a lot of things that I chose to do or said the things I said or hurt the people I wanted to hurt. I would do that differently, but I wasn't conscious enough to make those decisions then. And that made me who I am now.
Yeah.
And so I'm telling you, I would have a grateful heart and no regrets. And to me, if you can, on your last breath, if you can say that, you're winning. I can honestly say that. I think legendary about how it helps people with their time, with their purpose, with their money, with their relationships and who they are. That is a legacy. So I'm satisfied with that. But to my last breath, I never want to stop building this movement. At first, it was 1 million men, women's, and children's lives transformed. Now it's countless. If I leave a legacy, if we started taking our power back from whoever they are, that's the social media, the media, if we started becoming the puppeteers and not the puppets, if we started thinking for ourselves, if we started leading with love and not fear. We are taught to lead with fear. As many people as I touch, if we can get them to lead with love, share wisdom and not advice, take their power back, make an impact, and just be the person they were born to be, however many that is, then that's what I want my legacy to be, because I want it for myself. I am no sage, no guru, I walk every day. I struggle. I have my fears. I have my, and once a week I have my efforts. And then I'm like, but I get up every day, put on my big boy pants, lean in, ask for help. And to me, my legacy is just every single day being a little bit better than I was yesterday.
Oh, I love that. Tommy, where can people find you? I mean, obviously there's your book, but where do people go?
If you're not a reader, I'll read it to you. So, I mean, it's on Audible. If my Southern accent doesn't bother you, then let me read it to you. It is an actionable book. It's in all the airports, bookstores, paperback, softback, electronics. Check it out. It's simple. It's fun. It's quick. It's actionable. And I think that's why it's become a Wall Street Journal and USA Today. But if you're interested, let me tell you who we're not. We're not lazy. We're not apathetic. We don't do entitlement. We don't do victimhood. So just turn it off if that's you. You don't have to be successful. You just got to want to be successful. But success to me equals freedom. And I'm talking about freedom in your business, freedom in your money, relationships, friendships, and most importantly with yourself. If that resonates to you, email me directly. I will, me or a member of my team will email you back. I have people who check my email. Tommy@TommyBreedlove.com. We'd love to get you in a legendary life retreat. We'd love to get you in our community, one of our fun experiences, or most importantly, we'd love you to do life. We want to be the family you choose and do life together. Men or women, join us. We want to be the family you choose, and we will do life with you, and I will do life with you. So if this resonates with you, Tommy@TommyBreedlove.com, email me directly.
And with a name like Breedlove, how can you say no to that?
Finally living up to it.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Tommy, this has been such a pleasure. Thank you so, so much.
Lyndsay, you're the best. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day, everybody. Stay tuned for another episode of Heartbeat for Hire. Thanks for listening to Heartbeat for Hire. If you like what you hear, I'd love it if you'd subscribe and leave a 5-star review. To keep the conversation going, you can find me on Insta or at LinkedIn at Lyndsay Dowd, H4H, or you can reach me at my website, heartbeatforhire.com. Thanks so much. Have a great day.